Alright, so bet you didn't think I would be back doing these again. And to be honest, I kind of miss doing these video essays on topics I'm passionate about. And I'm especially looking forward to doing this one because it's about a subject I feel is very relevant to this day and age, and that I feel is more detrimental than it was intended to be. This very topic that I'm going to be talking about is the infamous cancel culture. Now, I know the term cancel culture is very overused by conservatives that are just pissy that they can't say things that are genuinely offensive. However, I do think there is credence to their use of the term. And basically, what I'm going to state is if you don't feel like listening to my whole video essay on this, I'm just gonna get it off my chest right here. So, basically, the reason I detest modern day cancel culture is I believe you should be allowed to criticize people of marginalized groups that have done terrible things without risking becoming a fucking pariah. Like, I don't care who you are. I don't care whether you're male, female, or neither like me. I don't care if you're black, white, whatever. I don't care about any of that. I care about your fucking actions. And I think nobody should be safe from criticism just because they are a part of a marginalized group. For example, like I'm bisexual and my identity as a demi-boy falls under the non-binary umbrella. However, I have stated like feel free to criticize me. That's me. I'm someone that can take criticism. I'm not going to make you a fucking pariah because I can't handle criticism, because that's fucking stupid. And like, I don't care if you fucking say that's prejudice, because it's not. I think everybody, regardless of who they are, should be able to be criticized. I don't think anyone should be protected from criticism, because nobody is a fucking angel. Absolutely nobody. So, that rant aside, I'm going to go in depth about all this fucking bullshit and show you some examples of just how cancel culture is doing more harm than good.
So what happens when more than 100 intellectuals make a bid to defend free speech in the face of cancel culture? They get canceled, of course, proving the existence of exactly the sentiments about which they were complaining. This week, a letter was published.
This morning, an update on a story we've been following about a professor forced to cancel his speech at MIT over his push to evaluate students based on merit and not racial equity. That push to cancel him backfiring as thousands register to attend his lecture, now rescheduled at Princeton. University of Chicago student Audrey Unver.
All right, a new CBS N Originals episode explores the hot button topic of what's been called cancel culture. It's defined as withdrawing support for public figures and companies after they've done or said something considered objectionable or offensive. A recent poll from Morning Consult and Politico.
Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me. That's an old saying some of us have heard for years. But are words truly that powerless? Today, if you are not careful, one wrong word or move could get you canceled. Merriam-Webster defines cancel culture as the practice or tendency of engaging in mass canceling as a way of disapproval and exerting social pressure.
Okay, so you may have noticed the title of this chapter, and I fully stand by it. I do think the practice initially had good intentions because it is thanks to the practice that people like R. Kelly and Harvey Weinstein no longer have a platform. these are the most notable instances of cancel culture. And in this sense, I believe it was justified. But why I think it's gone too far is because now you can cancel someone over offensive jokes they made, when they were fucking 15. Like, I don't think that fucking makes any sense. And it's because, like, a dude lost lost everything almost as quickly as he earned his 15 minutes of fame because he fucking be- okay, because he fucking decided to quote and tweet a joke he heard on fucking Tosh.0. Now, those of you that don't know what Tosh.0 is, well, you're probably too young, but it's essentially this show where this comedian, Daniel Tosh, who's, fucking known for his offensive, edgy brand of comedy, reacts to, people on the internet. The guy who went on a rant, like, the guy who went on a rant about South Park making fun of redheads, the Pokemon Go kid, the kid who wanted to do hood rat stuff and stole his mom's car, people like that. Like, nobody is safe from Tosh's sense of humor. And to be honest, I find it to be one of the best examples of 21st century comedy. I still think Daniel Tosh holds up. And I don't know about you, but I personally think it's incredibly fucking stupid to cancel people who repeated edgy jokes they heard on Tosh.0 and people that streamed a game that just so happens to be associated with an IP created by a transphobe. I just think it's kind of stupid to cancel them the same way that clear predators and abusers like R. Kelly and Harvey Weinstein had been canceled, don't you think? Now, I hate to use my own species as an insult, but I personally think that's the whole fucking point of cancel culture. You're not supposed to think. You're supposed to be a mindless sheeple. And that, I may be a sheep, but I can't fucking stand by that. I can't fucking stand by that shit. But I get it. I'm just a sheep on the internet. So don't take my word for it. Instead, I'll fucking show you the evidence of the points I'm making so I can prove that I'm not fucking bullshitting you, even though I really wish I was. So, for context, this is the article I was mentioning about the dude who got canceled for tweeting jokes he made that he saw on Tosh.0. And I'm gonna read it now. A Des Moines Register reporter at the center of a cancel culture controversy spawned by his investigation of an Iowa man who sparked a charity drive by soliciting beer money has spoken out. In an interview with BuzzFeed on Friday, reporter Aaron Calvin said that this event has basically set my life on fire. He blamed right-wing ideologies for his dismissal from the Register and claimed to be oppressed like women and journalists of color. Carson told BuzzFeed that he was ordered to investigate the background of Carson King, who became internet famous for holding up a sign soliciting beer money on ESPN's College Game Day. The stunt caught fire with the public, and massive amounts of money began to roll into the payment account King noted on his sign. He subsequently said he would donate the money to a children's hospital. The move attracted the attention of Anheuser-Busch, which said that it would match the donations. That pushed the collected fundraising north of $1 million. But Calvin's investigation of King while compiling a profile for the Register uncovered some tweets the 24-year-old had done when he was 16 years old. The tweets were quotes allegedly taken from the Tosh.0 TV show and reportedly contained racist themes. When Calvin called King for comment on the tweets, King immediately called a press conference and confessed to his online sins. TV stations reported the news first, before the Register published its own story, but the press conference alone was enough to have Anheuser-Busch drop its association with King. Now, I blame neither the reporter nor Mr. King for this whole bullshit, and I, to an extent, don't blame Anheuser-Busch for this whole debacle either, because, it's on Mr. King's part, I say stupid shit all the time, and I'm 18 years old. Yeah, I know, I probably sound a lot younger, but I'm 18 years old. And we all say stupid shit when we're teenagers. I think we all kind of go through that edgy phase. I used to be that edgy white kid that just said a bunch of really offensive shit under the guise of XD, I'm so edgy and cool. And I don't blame the reporter either. He was just doing his fucking job. For fuck's sake. If anything, it's the fucking media whose fault this is for making this feel good story. This 24-year-old said racist things when he was 16. Fucking bullshit, if you ask me. Because, like I said, Daniel Tosh says stuff like this all the time, but that's his whole shtick. He's not meant to be this overly PC person. That's the whole reason I enjoy Tosh.0 is because it's one of the few comedy shows that I think is still going to this day that isn't afraid to not be politically correct. So, that's just one of the examples. And now I'm going to go to a more recent one and allow myself to. Okay, I can't even speak. Allow me to make myself absolutely clear. I understand there is a lot of context and misinformation going around, but I am going to tell the events exactly as I've found out about them and exactly how I perceive them. So, I'm sure those of you in my audience that are big parts of the Twitch community and watch VTubers a lot have heard of the recent fiasco involving Pikamee and Hogwarts Legacy, and I've gotten mixed messages on it, to be honest. Some are saying Pikamee's decision to retire was brought on entirely by this fucking angry mob, and others are saying this retirement was a long time planned. It's just a very unfortunate coincidence. And well, I personally think it's an unfortunate coincidence that just, sped up Pikamee's decision to, leave being a VTuber. That's my honest opinion. But that still doesn't make what happened to her right. Right? And well, I know a lot of people don't like when now, I know a lot of people don't like when communities apologize on behalf of their own, but I'm going to do it anyway. Anyway, like, because I'm a demi-voice, and, well, I fall under non-binary, which means, I'm technically part of the trans community, and, I'm going to explain it very clearly to y'all. I do not support bullying in any way, especially not when the bullying is caused by severe misinformation. I am absolutely disgusted with the fact that there are legitimately people. Now, I understand these trans activists, their hearts are in the right place, but their actions, I cannot fucking excuse. Not fucking excuse. But, because it gives our community a bad name. Because here's the thing. This is the truth. Hogwarts Legacy is Legacy. Yes, it is a game inspired by an IP created by a known transphobe. And I do not stand with Miss Rowling in any capacity because I find her statements about trans people to be absolutely disgusting. However, that still does not change my stance that so long as it isn't, saying you should go out and kill a bunch of people, which admittedly a lot of her followers do. I believe in free speech, so long as it doesn't actively harm anyone. But that goes for everyone. That absolutely goes for everything. And the whole war over this game is actually fucking nonsense, in my opinion, because if I remember correctly, Miss Rowling, the only involvement she really had in this game was allowing her IP to be used. She was paid a flat fee for it and is not ever going to make any more money off it. That is the fucking truth. And if you don't fucking believe me, do a fucking simple Google search. And even if she was making money, here's the thing. Most of us aren't constantly on Twitter. I'm going now. The whole drama with Miss Rowling is primarily a Western thing. Pikamee is fucking Japanese. So, does it really make much logical sense for her to know all that much about, why anything Harry Potter related is kind of controversial? No. It really doesn't. And this is the problem I have with cancel culture being as powerful as it is. Because this whole situation could have been avoided if there weren't a million different fucking sources all spewing different things, people hearing a bunch of different shit. Like, when you're trying to cancel someone, it helps if you have the whole story. Not that I condone this behavior at all, but if you're going to attempt it, at least make sure you have the whole story. Okay, that rant aside, I did find an article that, explains the same points I made, which I'm going to read right about now. I am sorry I went on that fucking rant. It probably sounded awful because, well, I'm recording this through my fucking headset connected to my computer, and it sounds fucking awful, and I apologize for that. But, you kind of have to make do when you're broke. Okay, I'm going on another fucking tangent onto the article. So, Earlier last month, Pikamee, a popular VTuber, canceled her Hogwarts Legacy stream and went offline for 3 weeks, neither tweeting nor creating video content from February 8th through March 1st. Yesterday, she announced she will retire from her VTubing career entirely. Angry fans have latched onto the Hogwarts Legacy controversy as the reason why their favorite YouTuber will no longer produce content, but it's more complicated than that. And this fucking article just, makes the same points I did, that she probably had this a long time coming, but this just further solidified her decision to stop being a VTuber. So I'm just gonna go more into the points of the article that are more, relevant to my commentary. So, many people within and beyond the larger gaming community have voiced concerns about promoting Hogwarts Legacy, as it will in turn monetarily support Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling, who has repeatedly expressed anti-trans sentiments. A Reddit thread suggests that the negative comments on Pikamee's announcement of her Legacy stream included threats to unsub or expressed personal disappointment. Kotaku also viewed videos from other VTubers showing the negative responses to Pikamee, which included commenters reportedly trying to explain their reasons for this suggested boycott, or questioning her commitment as an ally to transgender people. Other streamers have faced similar criticism. Now, because Pikamee's Hogwarts Legacy tweets have been deleted, it's hard to get a holistic view of how strongly people actually opposed her stream, though evidence suggests the criticism was clear in its disappointment, but did not seem to escalate to harassment. However, Pikamee's most militant fans seemed to take issue with the call-out all the same. Between the quote retweets on the official retirement announcement and the tweets found by searching VTuber on Twitter, people are upset at the possibility that opposition to Pikamee because of her decision to stream Hogwarts Legacy, which led to her retirement, which again is currently unconfirmed. I mean, I'm gonna put in my 2 cents right here. I personally think it did play a role because, I fucking saw the stream in question where Pikamee was just fucking bawling. She was clearly upset with what happened. If I can find the link to that part of the stream, I will put it in the description of my video. Whatever Pikamee meant to her fans while she was actively streaming, it seems she's now become a martyr for those bemoaning the side effects of cancel culture and others looking for an excuse to attack a marginalized group. Fans have expressed it's not what she would have wanted from her community if only her fans would take her easygoing attitude to heart in light of her retirement. And I know I kind of jumbled up the article, but this is because it plays a part into where I am going to segue into next, which is how cancel culture actively hurts those it's trying to help. And here we go.
Hi, I'm Fox San Antonio's Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our Treasure Valley communities,
the El Paso, Las Cruces communities,
Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But we are concerned about troubling, irresponsible, one-sided news stories
plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these stories simply aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 Why, yes, this culture of mass hysteria and misinformation that leads people to cancel others is in fact dangerous, not only to my home country of America, but literally any country in which democracy is a thing. And this is the point I start off the second chapter of this video with. So obviously, there's a reason to be scared about how people will react to stuff like Pikamee's cancellation. And I'm going to read the article that makes the same point I made earlier in the video. So, as the Kotaku article states, this mere possibility has led trans streamers and allies to fear the speculation will lead to increased transphobia in the VTuber community, as it paints the problem group as trans people and trans allies. One tweet over Pikamee's retirement showed an edited image depicting Hatsune Miku, a music software mascot, burning a trans flag. Several said that trans people deserved their oppression. Others condemned the entire queer community. Some tweets contained ableist slurs and threats against transgender people. From all the anti-LGBTQ tweets in retaliation to Pikamee currently trending on Twitter, and one slur-filled thread on the hate forum Kiwi Farms, the fear appears well-founded. And this is the exact point I'm trying to make. You see, trans people and our allies are actively stating, like, the actions of these people, if they even fucking happened, are not a representation of the entire trans community. However, that's the thing with marginalized groups. One bad apple spoils the bunch. And as I said before, if it is true that trans people and allies of the community truly did drive this young streamer to tears and essentially run her off the internet, then to say I'm disappointed in the community is an understatement. I absolutely do not condone bullying of any kind. Because whether you're part of a marginalized community or not, we're all people. Like, I may just be a sheep on the internet, but this is one opinion of mine I think you should take to heart, is, be kind to, your fellow man, lady, person, whatever. Just be kind to your fellow human beings. It's not that fucking hard. And all of this could be avoided if you did some simple fucking research into the context. That's all I'm asking some of these people to do, is do some fucking research before you throw a hissy fit. And you see, this is the exact point I'm getting at. It's like, this whole controversy isn't exactly giving the trans community a good name. Well, I don't think the entire community should take the fall for what these people did. And I don't think the fucking slurs and, saying, oh, these T-slurs deserve their oppression. Like, the people against the cancellation on Twitter are just as awful as the people that ran Pikamee off the internet. I'm not saying these people aren't awful and just taking and just possibly taking something out of context to excuse hatred for an already politically disliked community. Like, here's the thing. But these so-called trans allies should realize it's like these sorts of things make people hate the community. Even if it wasn't intended to do that, that's how people are gonna perceive us. It's how people are gonna perceive us. Is as a bunch of fucking mentally insane crybabies who will run anyone who says something we don't like off the internet. And you know, like, that's just not cool. Well, it's like, and to be honest, there is so much fucking misinformation involving a lot of cancellations of people like Pikamee that I don't even know what's true and what's not anymore. I don't even know. But what I do know is this is gonna be the downfall of society. And unfortunately, it doesn't just happen this way in the internet. It happens this way in the real world too. And unfortunately, I'm not bullshitting you about this. Like it's not just internet stars that have everything to lose from being canceled. It's just your average Joe Schmo in the real world. Or like, I can name at least 2 recent incidents that happened over across the pond that show if you say anything someone doesn't like, the cops can just throw you in jail. And I understand, like, this isn't possible in America simply because of the First Amendment. Like, the cops can't throw you in jail unless, you know, you're threatening to kill a bunch of people.
No. The Hampshire police would realise how ridiculous this is. It is. Good. I'm glad to come to this.
What did it need to come to?
Tell us why you escalated it to this level, because I don't understand. I posted something that he posted. You come to arrest me. You don't arrest him. Why has it come to this? Why am I in cuffs? Because there's something he shared, then I shared.
Because someone has been caused, obviously, anxiety based upon your social media post. That's the reason why you've been arrested.
Now this is the exact reason I am so sick of the I'm offended culture from both liberals and conservatives alike. Don't think I'm just fucking singling out one side. I will get to the conservative side of cancellation, which I honestly think is even more banal than the liberals. And that's really saying something. But the fact that this dude got arrested just for posting something that, you know, hurt this other dude's feelings, it shows it's like free speech is in danger. It's in danger because of this sort of overly sensitive, cancellative culture. And don't think I'm just talking out my ass here. You fucking saw this dude got arrested because of something he posted on the internet. We don't know if it was a joke. We don't know if it was threats. We don't fucking know. All we know is it caused the person anxiety. And this isn't even the first time in the UK that I've heard of someone getting arrested for a social media post. This isn't even the first time.
My girlfriend is always ranting and raving about how cute and adorable her wee dog is, and so I thought I would turn them into the least cute thing that I could think of, which is a Nazi.
Do you want to gas the Jews? Do you want to gas the Jews? Do you want to gas the Jews? Sieg Heil! Sieg Heil! Sieg Heil!
Okay, the joke was in poor taste, I admit it. But, you know, personally, that's all it was to me. I don't see how this could be counted as a hate crime. But because it offended some people, this dude got charged with a hate crime for a fucking joke. Like, granted, it's very tasteless what he taught his dog to do, but it's very clear he was making a fucking joke. Now, I could understand if this video were posted somewhere like Germany, where, you know, Nazism is obviously a very sensitive subject. But personally, it's like, this would be something I'd just punch my bro in the arm for making. I wouldn't fucking charge someone with a hate crime for this. Oh, but wait, there's more. There is absolutely more to this craziness. There is absolutely more.
What are you here for today?
Physically, I'm just standing here.
Okay. Why here of all places? I know you don't live nearby.
But this is an abortion centre.
Okay, that's why you're stood here. Is you standing here part of the protest?
No, I'm not protesting.
Are you praying?
I might be praying in my head out loud.
So I'll ask you once more, will you voluntarily come with us now to the police station for me to ask you some questions about today and other days where there are allegations that you've broken public spaces protection?
If I've got a choice, then no.
Okay, well then you're under arrest on suspicion of failing to comply with the Public Spaces Protection Order, which is under the Antisocial Behaviour Crime Policing Act 2014. Now, of course, you again, you do not have to say anything. It may harm your defence if you do not mention when questioned something which you later on in court, anything you do say may be given evidence. Do you understand the caution?
I do.
Yep, you saw it right there and then, folks. Possibly the most egregious example of police in Britain enforcing political correctness. Now, as for the issue of abortion itself, I don't think I should really be able to speak on what women and people assigned female at birth can and can't do with their bodies, because, well, here's the thing. I'm not biologically female, like, I can't get pregnant nor have an abortion, so why should I be able to decide what someone who is biologically female can and can't do with their body? But this woman wasn't causing a fucking disruption. She wasn't doing anything except maybe offending a few bleeding heart liberals' sensibilities. Like, she wasn't even doing anything that would have caused a breach of peace. She was quite literally silently praying in her head. And I certainly hope that's not considered a fucking crime. Because if it is, Jesus Christ, Lord save you all in the... Oh, your anthem may be God Save the King, but I think it needs to become God fucking help us all. It needs to become God fucking help us all. And, like, I don't know about you, but I don't personally agree with such egregious violations of freedom of speech and expression. I absolutely do not agree with these egregious violations. And it's like, you need to get your shit together, Britain. Well, not the actual British people, but, you know, the fucking authorities and such. Like, don't take this lying down. And you might be wondering, Antonio, wasn't this whole chapter about how cancel culture and misinformation hurts the people it's trying to protect? Well, yeah. This is exactly the point I'm trying to make. People are not gonna like the communities that this overly politically correct culture seems to protect, simply for the reason, like, people don't like their free speech being quashed. Like, here in America, you can't get arrested for saying something unless what you're saying is, oh, I'm gonna go out and kill a bunch of people. You can absolutely get arrested for saying that in the United States. But I'm pretty sure offending someone isn't something you can get arrested for here. And I know what you're also probably saying. Antonio, didn't you say you were going to show us some examples of conservatives engaging in cancel culture? Yeah, I know you just can't wait for me to show that, like always, I am willing to go against both fucking sides. I am willing to go against both fucking sides. So, as much as conservatives like to complain that they are the biggest victims of cancel culture, they engage in it quite a lot, actually. You just don't see too many examples of when conservatives try to cancel something, because, well, although they'd like you to believe that conservative opinions are the minority of the internet, from what I've seen, a lot of the news channels on YouTube have a more conservative bias. That's like, the only real liberal news channels I've found on YouTube are the mass media ones. The majority ones. And the most watched news channels on YouTube are Fox News, The Daily Wire, New York Post. All of those have a conservative bias. And I know what you're saying, like, Antonio, but you used clips from at least 2 of those channels in this very video. Yes. Simply because, well, I believe in getting news from various sources. However, whenever conservatives try to cancel someone, it's very rarely a person they go after, but rather a corporation. Take example, the whole M&M's fiasco. Now, I personally found it rather stupid that conservatives were getting pissed over this shoe style on a fucking anthropomorphic candy. But Tucker Carlson, I'll give him that. He's not the most objective journalist, but he is a talking head that is amazing at riling people up. So, Tucker Carlson just, bashes M&M's for making this mediocre design and change. And, of course, all the conservative sheep of Twitter just, they all go making the same fucking points he does. Oh, this is woke. Oh, this is some fucking bullshit. Why change it? Oh, god damn it. And I swear, like, I cannot actually remember a fucking point that these people made other than the ones I mocked. In fact, it got so bad that M&M's, well, very briefly, dropped the anthropomorphic M&Ms entirely because of how much fucking shit they were getting from conservatives. And to be honest, it was mostly Fox News watchers I saw whining about the decision in the first place. M&M's quickly returned, and in an ad I see a lot, the purple M&M that was yet another piece of M&M's advertising that the conservatives hated was shown. I'm like, and I'm honestly glad that you know, that they didn't have their way for very long, because this isn't the first time conservatives have tried to cancel a corporation. It's just the most recent. Now, I think you remember. Now, for some reason, conservatives are against any type of change in corporations that they view as woke or too politically correct. Now, I have my own gripes with political correctness, but to be honest, the companies, I hate to break it to you, heart on your sleeve MAGA Republicans, but the only agenda these companies are pushing are the ones that'll make them the most money. That is the goddamn truth. That is the goddamn truth. Like, the name changes of Uncle Ben's rice, Aunt Jemima syrup, literally anything like that. It was just to make money. That they're businesses. The only agenda a business has at its core is to make money. Make money. That's all there is to it. That's all there is to it. Because in the end, the businesses still won. They still fucking won. They still fucking won, guys. They got you talking about them. You played right into the oldest trap in the book, which is any publicity is good publicity. And I know. And I'm not even bullshitting you about any of this. You see, throughout 2020 and 2021, every conservative thought, like, oh, they're gonna cancel anything that's remotely racist, sexist, homophobic, or anything like that. They're gonna try to destroy history. And to be honest, it's like, conservatives are guilty of the same thing. Because they were primarily the ones that justified the Iraq War, or when Bush was president. They didn't want anybody knowing, like, hey, we probably shouldn't be supporting this war because, well, there's no real justification for it. Right. But here's the thing. The conservatives love playing victim just as much as the liberals do. They honestly have a lot more in common than they fucking realize. Sure. Their ideologies are different, but they whine the exact same way. And that tangent aside, I'm going to segue into the third and final part of this video essay that may as well have also been a fucking tangent. So I end this video off on... I'm attempting to end it off on a high note. I hope everybody, regardless of who they are, takes something away from this. Like, what started out as a way to genuinely help people should not be used as a way to silence someone who says something you don't like. There are things that offend me, but it would be going against my entire ethos to try to cancel someone for saying something I don't like. Because that's something you'll learn about your old friend Antonio, is I don't agree with censorship if the things people are saying aren't actually hurting anyone. Now, if you're actively preaching hate towards a community, or, you know, threatening to go out and kill a bunch of people, then yes, absolutely. You don't want that person to, you know, have a platform, but there has to be a fucking limit to it all. Because here's the thing. Free speech is how ideas spread. Yes, harmful ones can be spread by it, but how do you think ideas are spread that make society generally a better place? That's right, through free speech. And, you know, as an American, I admit I may be biased towards the First Amendment because, well, there are very few other countries where your opinions are federally protected. Like, and I want to protect that because I want to be able to be the sheep that, you know, shows both sides of the story on an argument. Like, that's my biggest commitment to y'all with these video essays, is the fact that I will stop at nothing to provide you all with you know, lessons that are as objective as possible. I try not to let opinions cloud my points. It's like, if I'm gonna criticize one side, I'm going to criticize the other too. And that's not just to avoid criticism, that's genuinely because I believe it's the right thing to do. And I feel like cancel culture is just gonna make everybody so afraid of losing everything because of something they say or something they do that objective news won't be a thing anymore. And I get it. When it comes to politics, there is no such thing as objective news. But that's just one side of humanity. And, you know, that's my whole goal with this channel. Is I want to entertain, but I also want to, you know, provide valuable information, you know, valuable input. And that's why I'm so passionate about subjects like freedom of speech, about censorship, especially about things like cancel culture, because I want to keep being able to, you know, teach people something new. I want to keep being able to do that. Because I want to make the world a better place. I genuinely do. And I think by providing more objective, well-informed news, then perhaps I can make that wish a reality. And like, I'm actually speaking from the heart right now. Something I don't normally do on this channel, but it's like, y'all mean a lot to me. And that is the truth. And what I want you all to take away from this video is I want you to remember my same points, that all cancel culture is really doing is making pariahs out of critics. It is using social justice. It is hijacking good intentions to simply destroy the lives of people who agree with something one doesn't like, which was never supposed to be the point of the practice. And it absolutely sickens me to see it being used as an especially egregious form of censorship. Because here's the thing. What does it say about our modern day society in which people who make edgy jokes and people who play a game that, well, it's inspired by the IP of a transphobe, it didn't monetarily support said transphobe? Why are we comparing, like, people who make edgy jokes and people who are misinformed? Why do we make them pariahs similar to, people who abused children, people who actively preach hatred against marginalized groups? Do you think that's fair to treat them that way? Because I certainly don't. I certainly don't think that jokes from one's past should be used against someone. And I certainly hope none of you in my audience think that way either. And by encouraging this mass cancellation, all it's doing is further polarizing people. It breeds hatred, which is not something I want to happen. It is not something I want to happen at all. I don't want this Pikamee drama to... I don't want the actions of a few people in the trans community to make pariahs out of every trans person and every ally. I don't want that to happen at all. Because it's actively undoing all the support that the community has worked so hard to gain. And like, that'd be a real shame if it happened. Oh, and those of you that use cancel culture as a way to avoid criticism, this is purely subjective. Fuck you. Like, seriously, fuck you. Now, I've actively stated, like, just because I am an autistic bisexual demiboy doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean I am immune from criticism. And I absolutely despise people who use their identities as an excuse to cancel those who criticize them. I absolutely hate people like that. They're the worst participants of cancel culture, and that is purely objective. Like, that is just purely fucking objective. And I'm going on another tangent, so I want you to leave with this final parting take. If you don't take away anything else from this video, I want you to learn to be more open to other people's opinions. If they're not hurting anyone, try to see their side of the story. Because what people need to do nowadays is take a walk in someone else's shoes. Whether they be my big-ass shoes, my sister's small-ass shoes, hell, even your neighbors. Take a walk in someone else's shoes. Not literally, of course, but metaphorically. Metaphorically take a walk in someone else's shoes. Oh, and if any of you somehow haven't figured that out, I'm just a sheep on the internet. So don't take my words completely verbatim. Don't take my words for it. I shouldn't be your only source of information, because after all, I'm just an 18-year-old sheep on the internet. I've been Antonio. Oh, and thanks for watching. Goodbye.
Psych!
If you make music, then stop it. And you mad cause I called you a wildin'. I'm not even being mean, I'm just honest. I took your parking spot because I called it. Hop in the whip, I feel like Charlie. If you find me in that something, go like Charlie. Your music leaking just like Sophie. Pick up the phone, this isn't solid, this is Lindsay. I'm like Dunkin' and I'm ordering a bagel. I'm a fairy, your career is just a fable. Another strike, looking at your timestables. Feel like Buster has the horse in a stable. You got one harder, click the link, it got your IP. You in the studio, but you need to work on hygiene. And you private, who you talking to on live stream? If we fight, I'll leave you swollen like Salento.
I bet the number of your IP address is the same number as your favorite order at Subway. 2 digits, Italian, and sad.
If it's with me right now, I am a talking because that's the place to be right now. Is this a deal and no deal, bring it to me right now. I am done with you, I should have no place to be right now. I'm sorry, I'm gonna show you. Waiting long, coming on the stop. Waiting in line for the glitch for bathroom. I'm at the Apple store, where is the app room? Is it really possible?